Alright everybody, so this is a basic review of the Mega Construx brand of building bricks. This is a Lego alternative. This particular item was at Walmart, Target. I think we paid about 40 bucks for it. It might be a little cheaper now depending on what you're dealing with as far as like a sale and whatnot. So basically this is a Lego alternative. The price point is honestly not that much different from Lego, and the real reason why we picked this one up was because like Lego does not have access to the Pokemon property. Mega Construx got whatever bid, or possibly they're partly owned by Niantic or the Pokemon company. Who the heck knows? But they're basically the only guys who make building brick sets that are Pokemon oriented and officially Pokemon licensed. So we want to pick this Pokeball up so we can have a little display piece to put on my son's bedside table. And I'm going to just give you my overall impressions. The blocks themselves, I'm going to go and say they're not as high quality. They don't quite connect as tightly as Legos, especially those ones that are shaped kind of oddly, the rounded shapes in particular. And I think that might be an issue going forward with this brand, simply because so much of the brand is focused more on making building blocks for other properties. So like lots of stuff custom made for Pokemon, as opposed to taking, like Lego, they take mostly existing brick shapes and adapt them to a licensed item like Minecraft or Mario or whatnot. Whereas it looks like Mega Construx has basically said, hey, we need to make these building blocks that match the shape we already want. So you end up having a little bit of sacrifice of stability in favor of, hey, we need to get this shape right. In particular with these circular shapes, like the ones that create the sphere effect on this Pokeball, they're not the best in the world. When they attach okay, but they're never quite they never feel quite as tight as you want them, especially when you have to keep building on top of that infrastructure. It makes it very difficult. So that's my number one gripe with it. I would say if Lego's a 10, these are like an 8, or a 7 as far as how firm and how well they hold together and how sturdy they are while you're building. Excuse me, coughing in my throat. Now the second issue is the instructions. Again, if Lego's instructions are a 10, I'd say these are a 7, maybe even as low as a 6. For whatever reason, the Construx actually they're okay. They're just not great. They really are just okay. A big issue I was having was they weren't showing flip images. They didn't like rotate the item well, so you'd have to kind of like improvise. Okay, well, how do I make this shape in front of me so I can like see what it's talking about doing? So that was a bit of an issue. So that's not really an issue if you're an adult doing this for fun, but if you're a kid, it could get very frustrating very quickly because the spatial awareness for kids already isn't that as high as it is for adults typically. And if they're trying to do this for like the first time ever, or transitioning from Legos to doing this, you're going to have some slight issues. So basically be there ready to kind of like look at and see what they're not translating properly inside the actual instructions, because there are issues with like spatial uniformity when they transition a shape over and say, hey, now you got to work on the other side, but they don't actually like give you a flip motion. They just assume you can look at the picture and try to line everything up. And for smaller kids, they might be able to do that, but they also might miss a step in the process. So it's not quite as step by step the way that Lego instructions tend to be over intensive in their detail, where this tends to be a little more under intensive. I will say this: the pictures, the coloring makes it very efficient. I think Lego sometimes loses on that, where they'll have two very similar gray colors. This one obviously was the only colors here were red, black, and white because it's a Pokeball, but you did not have an issue. There was no real issues even with some of the internals that weren't uniform colors. Like you see some gray pieces down there. Like they didn't mix up the gray and the black too much, so that felt pretty good as far as just being more user friendly. Overall, the Mega Construx does a good job. It's just not as good as Lego. It's still pretty good if you can get a good price point, because typically Lego never goes on sale for like deals. Mega Construx often is included in sales, so that'd be probably where I'd buy it at. I wouldn't want to pay full price for it unless I really want to make something Pokemon oriented or have some Pokemon little pieces on the side. But other than that, it's a really great set. It's just not as good as Lego. You really are buying a lesser version of Lego, but if you want the cool Pokemon stuff, this is where you kind of got to go.